What's up guys, Simply Coco here and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So as you can see from the title, we are doing a Storm Chasers trailer home or camper or whatever you want to call it. I have recently purchased Strangerville, so that's where we are building this. You know that obviously if you have seen the world of that pack, but that's where we are building today. And after I bought this pack, I was like, I kind of wanted to go ahead and build here because it's kind of I actually really like the world. It's pretty. I probably would never play in it though, because I don't want to have to go through the storyline and all of that and of trying to make people not act weird. But I think it's a pretty world actually. I like it a lot, so I really wanted to build here. And when I was just kind of going on YouTube, just kind of looking to see what kind of build I wanted to do, the main thing that got built when this pack came out was a whole bunch of trailer homes or campers or whatever you want to call them. So that's what I went with. And another thing that's kind of been popular on YouTube recently is people do like career-based homes, particularly tiny homes. So I wanted to do something like that, but also something a little different, because obviously there's not an actual Storm Chaser career in the game. So this is really just, my imagination. If you download this house and kind of like that same storyline of this person being a Storm Chaser, you're gonna kind of have to, use your imagination a bit, because there's not an actual Storm Chaser career. But I did my best to make it look like what I think a Storm Chaser's trailer home would look like. Not that all Storm Chasers live in a trailer home. One of my best friends actually has a degree in atmospheric science and has a master's in something now. And she and her husband, they chase storms, and by no means do they live in a trailer home. It's just for this world, a trailer home was just the aesthetic and what I wanted to build, because I had never built one before. So that's the story behind that. But yeah, the person that lives here likes to chase storms. I kind of, as I'm building this, it kind of made me wish that The Sims did have more extreme weather, like tornadoes, and there technically are earthquakes, but it's a lot trait that makes the quake zone. But I wish they had like tornadoes and hurricanes and just everything. Maybe they don't though, because certain hurricanes and tornadoes in history have like really caused a lot of destruction and devastation. So maybe that's why. And this is supposed to be more of a fun game to escape you from reality. But as you can see, I'm just doing the outside. I've barely talked about the build at all. I put a camera on the little porch or stairs, because I imagined they would record their findings. They would go and take pictures of whatever they're chasing. I did put an actual film camera off to the side, thinking I was going to put it inside, but I ended up not. It was just too big and there was no room. This is considered a tiny residential lot. It is 24 tiles. Could not believe it. I had actually already done the floor plan and started furnishing it before I changed it to a tiny home lot. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is actually really small. This is probably the smallest micro home I've ever built. It's fully functional, has everything your Sims would ever need, even a computer. Can you believe that? The only thing it doesn't have is a TV, but like if you have a computer, you don't even need a TV. But I also placed the 2 generators down from Eco Lifestyle. I sized one of them down just for some variation. I did give him a selling table. I probably wouldn't have him sell anything if I played here. I just kind of use it as like a random place to sit things outside and to store things outside under the table. Also gave him the water generator, the kind of more fancier one. This object in the corner to the left hand side, that is the weather machine. excuse me, it allows your Sims to actually control the weather, which, you know, a storm chaser can't actually do. But yeah, I just thought that was a good object to use since it actually had to do with weather. So now I'm starting on the outside. You did see me place some posters down right outside the front door just to kind of, I don't know, they don't really look like anything that has to do with weather, but it just kind of gave me the aesthetic I was looking for with this place. Very cluttered, very almost conspiracy theorist vibe, but not so much so. That's why I tried to place as many like electronic things around, like the generators, like the water generator, like the actual weather machine, and just stuff like that, just kind of distinguish it from like conspiracy theorist builds and stuff like that. And I just wanted to make it look like someone lived here that was like really technically, you know, smart. They have all this technology to help them track the weather. Hence the reason why I put down all the satellites. There's like 12 satellites. But yeah, now I'm on to the interior. As you can see, I do a 2x2 bathroom, or no, it's definitely not a 2x2. It's a 1x3 bathroom, and the shower is actually separate. I really enjoyed this idea. Or this layout, because in a lot of campers or RVs or whatever, you have like the bathroom is literally just a toilet, and then you have the shower on the outside, and the only sink is usually the one in the kitchen. But the only sink in this build is actually in the bathroom instead of in the kitchen. There is no sink in the kitchen because they have to have space to cook on. But yeah, so I just made a little area for the, what is it called, for the shower. As I'm recording this, I did not play test it, but I'm pretty, you know, good at knowing, you know, what they can and cannot do. I'm referring to The Sims. So everything in here should work perfectly fine. If not, move some things around, and I'm very sorry. But yes, this is the kitchen area. So it's a small kitchen, but it's a full kitchen. I don't clutter up the counters at all, and as far as I know, they can also prepare food on the corner piece of the counter. I'm not sure, but just in case they can't, I do have that other counter that's completely free. Yeah, I don't clutter them up at all. I don't even put paper towels or anything up there. I imagine the guy that lives here probably doesn't cook that much anyway. And that's probably why the stove looks like that. I wouldn't imagine he's a dirty guy. He keeps his trailer very cluttered just because he's constantly doing research. He's constantly, you know, he's constantly away from home because he's chasing storms. He's always collecting data. So just the overwhelming amount of paperwork and research and data and all of this just kind of piles up. And he doesn't have anywhere to put it because he lives in a trailer. But I wouldn't imagine he's a messy person. Like, if I were to create a sim and actually play in this house, I wouldn't give him the slob trait, you know, or anything like that. It's an older trailer with older appliances and stuff like that. But the sim himself, I wouldn't imagine being messy. That's another reason why I put these, I'm just gonna call them plaques or degrees, up on the wall above his little seating nook area, whatever you want to call it, his little seating corner. I imagine that's like, one of them is probably his bachelor's degree, and the other one's probably his master's degree or a certificate of some sort. I imagine him being very smart. And maybe he just got out of university or something, and this was the cheapest place he could afford, and that's why he lives here, you know. He knew that for the next 2 years of his life he wanted to storm chase, so there was no point in going out and buying a house. So here he is, living in Strangerville in this trailer. But as you can see, I have done the bed. I'm starting on the bedroom. I put in the bed that came with, I think it came with Parenthood. I'm not 100% sure. I think so. It just gave me the vibe because of the like metal bars that's supporting the bed. And then I put a full-on desk. I just tried to use one of the computers that looked very industrial, very high tech with a lot of equipment. There's probably one that's more bulkier than that, but that's just the one I wanted to use. And now I'm pulling out different clutter objects like all these papers, some mail, these files. I put some on the floor, these file boxes that I put on the floor, and just, yeah, literally just trying to make it as cluttered as possible. I do end up realizing that I didn't give him a dresser, so I put the tiny living dresser, the skinny one that the skinny one, and I put it in all black, and I put it right in front of the bed facing outwards, obviously, so he can get to it. And then on top of that, I just put more paper stacks and more case files and stuff like that. I'm saying that because you won't actually see me do it in the speed build, but maybe it'll be in the screenshots. I'm not completely sure because I haven't taken them yet, but they might be. I'm sure it will because I didn't include it in the video, so I'll want you to see that. And then now I'm just lifting these postcards to act like they're magnetized or attached to the refrigerator. I imagine this guy being very well traveled, hence why I'm putting the cork board with all the postcards on them. Yeah, you saw me stick some debug tires under his trailer, just because I imagine maybe since it's such an old unit or trailer or whatever you want to call it, that maybe the tires go flat a lot because they don't get changed, because the trailer itself doesn't actually move because it's so old, but the landlord of this lot still rents it out. I don't know. But yeah, I just saw the tire objects and I could not use them. But now I'm placing some posters around. Again, none of them really truly look like it has to do anything with weather. I know we have seasons and obviously that's weather, but I would love, like, I wouldn't love it, but it would be fun to have like a game pack that was that kind of expanded seasons. So like more intense weather, more careers like weatherman and storm chaser and stuff like that. That might be hard to actually do in The Sims because it's not, an open world anymore, but just a thought. But yeah, I'm just putting up a whole bunch of posters and news articles and different items or paintings or pictures that look like maps, because he would need to be tracking the storms and knowing where he's going in general. Yeah, even that I put above the fridge was like a little compass looking thing. Yes, I put the like barbecue sauces on the table just because I saw it. And there's some objects when I see them, I have to use them. And that's one of them. The little bowl of lemons that I think came with backyard stuff is another one of those items where if I'm in the menu, I could be looking for something completely different. But if I'm in the menu and I see it, I have to use it. But anyway, you saw me furnish the bathroom already, but now I'm just putting like the finishing touches on the bathroom. I do put a vent just because there was no windows, so I felt like to be a little more realistic, it would need a vent to kind of vent out those feces smells. But and now I'm just kind of griming up the floor and the walls. Again, I wouldn't say it's because he's pissing and missing the toilet or anything. He's not a messy guy. It's just this is an old place and it was already like this. Now the grime that I put in front of the shower probably is just a mixture of everyone that's lived there, especially if they didn't put a rug right there, because there would be nothing to soak up the water that came out of the shower, and it's just sitting there on that metal, and it probably would rust and all of that. Now I'm putting blinds just because I felt like that made the most sense in a trailer, except for in the living room, because putting the blinds over the little seating area. They cut into the end table. Excuse me, they cut into the end table and his dining table. And then putting the blinds over the oven, they cut into the oven. So that's why I put those little pulley down like curtains, or they're not really curtains, but I don't know what you'd call them. You just kind of pull them down and then pull them again to pull them back up, if you know what I'm trying to say. And then I gave him a truck because at first I wasn't, but then I was like, wait a minute, he's a storm chaser. He has to travel where he's going. He needs a vehicle to chase the storms, and he can't chase them on foot or on a bike. So I went ahead and gave him a truck. I literally just went and debugged, and literally the first truck I found is the one I used. There are some trucks in the debug menu that look a little more beat up, but I kind of like the idea of him having a nicer truck. This is one of the nicer trucks, I would say. Because again, I imagine him being very smart. He probably is pretty well off. Like, I wouldn't say he's broke. Wouldn't say he's rich, but he like has enough money for a decent truck. Now I'm just putting some equipment around the truck that would look like weather equipment. Obviously it's not. What's in the truck, I think, is sound equipment. And what's next to the truck is lighting equipment. And just real quick, that little pipe or whatever I put on the actual, like, behind the trailer, that was supposed to be the gas for like the oven and stuff. But anyway, as you can see, the screenshots are rolling. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will always respond to your comments. And please turn on that notification bell to know exactly when I post my next video, exactly when I post it, and I will see you all then. Bye!